Hello and welcome to Cupcake Addiction's Beach Umbrella Cupcake, where I will show you how to make this great, simple and really effective beachy style cupcake. The perfect accompaniment to our giant cupcake bucket and spade, our little cupcake bucket and spade, or of course our beautiful seashell cupcake. You can even put them all together and make something along the lines of this gorgeous cupcake tower. Let's get started. Tools and equipment that we will be using today. I've got a pair of scissors, I've got a cupcake. Mine's got it's chocolate with some lovely caramel chips in it today. I've got some of our perfectly pipeable buttercream frosting. Now, I've got a great recipe and tutorial for that on my channel, which I'll leave a link to below. Now, with your frosting, just colour it any kind of a sandy colour. You can use liquid colour, it really doesn't matter, paste, whatever. Yellow, orange, somewhere in between, so long as it works with a kind of a sandy finish. For our sandy finish, I'm just using shortbread biscuits or any kind of a white coloured biscuit. So long as it's not chocolate or chocolate chips, it's going to make us a wonderful little shortbready sand. And I've used a food processor, but you can also crush those by hand. Having a look at that, it's not really finely crushed. I've sort of left some chunks and lumps in there because I want it to look really nice and sandy. So if you go too fine, they tend to get absorbed into the frosting. I've got some little Coke bottle lollies. Now, most people should be able to find these. In some countries, maybe not, but I know they're really widely available here in Australia, and I think most people have them. I've got a sour strap. Now, I've just chosen red. You can choose any colour you like. You can also use fruit roll-ups. You can roll out some taffy, or you can use fondant or modelling chocolate. And I've got a cute little cocktail umbrella. I would be very surprised if you can't find those in the country that you're watching this from. Let's get started. I will also mention that I've got a butter knife. Now, I'm going to take my butter knife and I'm going to really just scoop it onto the cupcake. So this is a great one for no piping bags or fancy equipment. As I'm scooping it on, I'm scraping it down into the patty pan, not over the side of, the cupcake liner, just into it so that it's really kind of filling up any little gaps beside it, but not going too far over it to make it messy. Especially because I'm using a chocolate cupcake here. If you're using a vanilla, you've got a little bit more flexibility because obviously the colour's not so harsh as it comes through. So you can see there, as soon as I get to a spot that's got a bit of that brown colour, I really just almost wipe my knife off on it, and it just kind of builds up a bit of frosting there and colours it nicely. Now I want to just do I'm just wiping my knife back and forth. I want to do a really nice rough finish. You don't want it to be too smooth. Now, to put on our sand, rather than rolling it in your shortbread sand, I just like to kind of dip it in there. If you roll it, you're going to neaten it out too much, and we don't really want it to look too neat because beaches just aren't usually. Alright, so you should have something that looks like that. Now I like to just go through with my fingers and just a couple little pots there so that it's really nice and haphazard, and then just sprinkle a little bit more of that sand on top and tip it off. Something that looks along the lines of that. Beautiful. So now it's time to make our little towel. For the little towel, I'm just going to take that sour strap that I'm using, cut off a little towel-sized portion. Now I found when making these, normally I would just cut, if I was using fondant or something, I would just cut these little tiny nicks out of it. But because I'm using a sour strap, you really couldn't notice the nicks as much as what you would out of fondant or modelling chocolate. So as I cut along them, I'm going to go back and just take off a corner of each one. It seems a little time consuming, but it really just separates them and makes it look a lot more towel-like. If you love our tutorials, please make sure that you hit the subscribe button. The more the merrier over at MyCupcakeAddiction, and we would love to have you drop by. Okay, so there's our lovely towel, and you can see there just by cutting off those little corners, it's made it look really ratty on the edges and towel-like, which is exactly what we want. Then we're going to take our little Coke bottle, and these cocktail umbrellas, they normally have a little band that holds them together. Be really careful of these little bands. I cannot tell you how many times I've almost left one in the top of a cupcake. So just opening up our umbrella, and it's ready to put that one together. Now, I'm just going to lay down my towel, push it in so that it gets a little bit of that sticky buttercream in some of those finger holes you've made. Because you've made finger holes there, see how it's sort of sitting not too flat, it's nice and raised up, it's just looking more like a towel. Plonk down your Coke bottle somewhere beside the towel. It's a very large bottle of Coke for whoever's sitting on that little tiny towel. And then we've got our umbrella. That umbrella is just going to get pushed into the cupcake. So there you have your gorgeous little beach setting cupcake, ready to go for your next beach party and perfect to pair up with all of our other great beach themed cupcakes and giant cupcakes. Thanks very much for watching. I hope you've enjoyed watching this tutorial as much as I enjoyed making it for you.